Our students are the future. How we advance innovation and impact and approach equity in their classrooms will determine how we thrive as a world community. The status quo just won't cut it. That's why we're here to break the grade. Hello, breakers and difference makers. I'm Josh Chernikoff, host of How I Broke That. I'm a two-time entrepreneur in the education space, and I've successfully exited both of those companies. I've experienced my fair share of breaks in my life, and I'm here to bring my signature approach to my new show, Breaking the Grade. I'm embarking on this special journey alongside my good friend and mentor, John Gamba, Director of Innovative Programs and Entrepreneur in Residence at Penn GSE. In our podcast, you'll hear from emerging business owners in the education space who are working to transform education as we know it. Tune in as we hear about industry trends, unique principles and practices, and the attempts that have and haven't worked for our grade-breaking guests. So fellow entrepreneurs and educators, what do you think? Are you ready to take a hammer to the education space and break the grade? Welcome to another episode of Breaking the Grade. This is an episode that, honestly, I wouldn't have been able to do a year and a half ago. This is an episode that I'm really excited to do because Alex Hormozi, who I follow, says that entrepreneurship is the fastest and most efficient path to personal growth. And this episode is about my personal growth when it comes to speaking engagements. So this episode is called The Speaking Strategy: How Education Founders Build Credibility, Confidence, and Opportunity. So welcome to a show, again, that would not have been possible for me a year and a half ago. So if you want more business, and I believe you do, if you want more credibility, and I believe you do, and if you want real momentum in the education space, and I know you want that, speaking engagements are one of the most powerful tools that you're probably not using or not using enough. Now, I'm happy, if you've been listening to the show, that you're posting on LinkedIn, that you're networking, that you're working on your messaging, that you're supporting others through commenting on LinkedIn. But if you're not getting in front of rooms, virtual or in person, you're missing the biggest visibility play that compounds over time. And I'm going to tell you how that has happened for me since last June. Now, first, a confession. I'm not naturally the guy who loves a giant stage. But I have spoken at the University of Pennsylvania, DC Startup Week, Monterey IFE, ERDI, South by Southwest. And honestly, I have 2 speaking gigs next week. So let me just pull out this list that I have here. And I'm going to read it to you. You guys know I'm not one that's going to brag, but I am one that is going to show you how proud I am. And I want you to be equally as proud. So let me look at the road ahead. Okay? Next week, I'm in Chicago for 2 events, one at the University of Chicago and one I'm partnering up with the EdTech Institute of Chicago. Then in June, I'm speaking at the Catalyst event at University of Pennsylvania. Then I'm going to the National Test Prep Association in Minnesota for their conference where I'm speaking. Then ERDI in Baltimore, Maryland, where I'll speak. The School Partner Connect Summit, also in Virginia, where I'll speak. And then the Milken Finals in September. And that's the speaking engagements I know. Starting in January of this year, we're now in May, I spoke at IFE in Monterrey, Mexico, South by Southwest, ERDI, COI in Argentina, virtual, EDU Challenger twice, in Lithuania, virtual. Again, I'm not one that looks for a big stage. I'm super comfortable with the microphone and a camera in front of me, but a big stage, that ain't my thing. Today, though, I'm going to show you exactly how to use speaking engagements to build your credibility, to grow your confidence, and open doors you didn't even know existed. So let me tell you why speaking engagements matter, even if they scare you like they did for me. Speaking builds instant credibility, faster than 100 LinkedIn posts. That's not an exact science, but I do believe it. And I do believe in LinkedIn. Speaking leads to more speaking. I can tell you that visibility does compound, because in 2024, I spoke at 3 events: Catalyst at University of Pennsylvania, another conference in Pasadena, California, a great one, the Innovative Educators Conference. And then I also got to speak at DC Startup Week. So this year I said, I'm going to speak. My goal is going to be 6 events. I worked with my mentor, my friend, my colleague, John Gamba. And I said, how can I speak at 6? He said, we talked about this and we got me revved up. I think I'm looking at 13 events this year. So it does compound. Speaking forces you to clarify your message, which in turn helps you sell better. Every single audience, whether 30 people or 30,000, is an opportunity. And you know what? I'll even put it to you this way. Every single audience, whether 3 or 30 or 30,000, is an opportunity. Virtual events. I was in Lithuania and Argentina virtually. I did pack my virtual bags. Count just as much for credibility. So I want you to know, in 2024, before my first speaking opportunity, and certainly this year, I have struggled with imposter syndrome. I wasn't sure I belonged on these stages, but my coach, Tony, told me, you do belong and you do have value to offer, and you get up on that stage. And I did it. Preparation, honesty, repetition, that has built my confidence to get on that stage. And thank you, Tony, my coach, and my business. One thing I will tell you, though, is you do not get speaking gigs by accident. Here's the reality of how these speaking gigs actually do happen for me and can happen for you. You have to post consistently. When I mean consistently, I'm up to kind of 3 to 4 a day on LinkedIn, and I'm probably commenting 3 to 4 times that amount. Thoughtful comments too. Post consistently, share your ideas, show your thinking, let people hear your voices, and comment. Comment means you get to lift other people up, and that feels damn good. Take smaller opportunities first. Early gigs might be unpaid. Smaller webinars, unpaid. Panels with 15 people in the room, all good, guys. You say yes anyway. You get your butt there. And you start swinging. And you start trying, and you get comfortable with that microphone in your hand. Honestly, get comfortable with, what are you going to do with your legs? That may sound weird, but I remember thinking, like, do I cross my legs? Wait, there's my crazy socks. Got to figure that stuff out. Test and refine your message. Your first deck will not be perfect. Got to get up there, though, and test it out. You will screw up presentations. You're going to realize when people lose interest. You got to. And that's good. And every single time, you are going to get a little bit sharper. Okay? Listen harder than you speak. Don't just present. Always leave time for Q&A. Always leave time for Q&A. And pay attention to what people ask, what resonates with them, what falls flat. If people ask more about a particular part of what you speak about, that could be in and of itself an opportunity to speak the next time. Work your ass off to get invites. Let me repeat that because that felt good. Work your ass off to get invites to these conferences. Don't wait for speaking gigs. You need to chase them early on. Let me tell you a story. DC Startup Week 2024, October. I wanted to speak at this thing so badly. I had the juices flowing. I couldn't get anybody, Rachel or Seema, who were the phenomenal founders of DC Startup Week, who were really busy at the time. They didn't have space for me and they didn't get back to me, and I totally understand it. And I even called in a few favors for some really great people in DC. Didn't hear from them. It's cool. Kind of hurt a little. All good. The Wednesday before DC Startup Week, middle of the night, I get an email from Seema saying, we had somebody drop out. Would you be willing to speak? Next morning, I'm booking plane tickets. I'm thinking they're going to throw me into some room. Hopefully some people show up. We'll see. And what do you know? I had the opportunity to speak at the 300-seat theater at the MLK Library in beautiful Washington, D.C. And I was super scared. And I'll tell you what happened. They were running about an hour to an hour and a half late. So I'm like buying time, waiting, thinking, how's this going to go? And I went up to Seema and I said, who was sitting at the top of this theater, and I said, so I have what? An hour and a half left? She's like, no, you're on now. And we walked down there and she handed me the mic. And she said, this is Josh Chernikoff. I only know him because he's really pleasantly persistent. And that was my introduction, and I was off and running. So you got to work your ass off to get your invites and know that you deserve to be there. And then when you get that mic, you rock and roll. You got to take some gigs that you're not thrilled about. And I've been thrilled about pretty much every single one. You guys probably know me. I'm very much a glass half full guy. But there's some that I don't know if I should have traveled there or was it worth the prep. But honestly, it's all good repetitions. And as entrepreneurs, we're very good at making something out of nothing. So if you've got an opportunity to speak, go for it. Over time, your invitations, they will grow. I can tell you that. I am grateful for all the invitations I get. And over time, mine have grown. So how do you prepare so that you don't freeze on that big stage? Well, first of all, you got to know your material cold. But I promise you, it won't work if you memorize it. Okay? You do not want to memorize what you're talking about. You want to have a deck in back of you that when you look up and people are looking at your deck, it gives you reminders of what you should be talking about. But you should not be reading and you should not be memorizing. You should be so good at presenting this and you should know it so well that you can even go way, way, way off script. Which means hopefully you can tell stories because stories are what people remember. When you get to a Q&A, if somebody asks you a question, you don't know the answer, just say, I don't know. It builds trust. And then guess what? Get their email address. You've just got yourself potentially a new lead that now trusts you because you didn't know the answer in that moment and you were honest. Speak to the room, not at the room. Speak to the room, not at the room. What that means to me is be able to walk around, be able to look at different people, stop, start, take pauses, sit down, stand up. Really be a part of the room, not just in front of the room. I want you to embrace the opportunity to do virtual talks. And, of course, podcasts can kind of fall under that as well. You should treat them like real talks. What I mean by that is prepare. Maybe even put your suit on. Maybe even put your best clothes on. Certainly do your hair. Feel good. You're getting in front of people. Whether you're talking to one person in a podcast, you're going to be talking to a lot of people going forward because they're going to listen to that podcast. So treat a podcast, treat a virtual speaking opportunity with as much importance as you would speaking in front of a large group. Now, I'm going to bring us back a little bit to podcasts. I want you to think about evaluating speaking opportunities because honestly, not all speaking gigs are equal. These days, there are a lot of opportunities to be on podcasts. Okay? And while I want to help anybody who is trying to get content for their podcast, if I'm not able to do it, if it's not the right audience for me, if it's not my buyers or my influencers, I'm at the point where I'm going to pass, most likely. Again, I still see a lot of value in repetition, so that's why I kind of say most likely. But at the same time, because I put so much energy into a podcast as much as I do speaking at DC Startup Week or Catalyst for Penn, I'm going to put a lot into it. So I want you to evaluate speaking opportunities that way. Free gigs are fine, but only if the room is totally strategic for you and you can figure out the strategy before, during, and after. Big stages are great. Smaller stages can also be good too because you might be able to convert faster. So think about that when you're evaluating. Every opportunity has its place in your calendar. We should have to figure out the right place. So think about some of those things as you're evaluating these opportunities. Now, whether you take them or not, you have got to maximize speaking before, during, and after you get off that stage. Before, tell people 1 month out. I have a client who's speaking in a month from now in Kentucky, maybe Ohio, a wonderful state. And I'm working with him to make sure that he starts promoting 1 month out to let people know. That's credibility. And then certainly several days leading up to it or 1 week out and then several days leading up to that speaking opportunity, let people know. Use Canva, create yourself a nice graphic. Even if the event is super small and they don't create a graphic for you, you go and you make one using Canva. And if you don't know how to do it, reach out to me. I've got people on my team. We'll make one for you. I'm throwing that out there. I'm going off script right now. We'll make one for you. Now, when you're there, you need to either bring a friend or make a friend. Because if the event is small, and as I told you, there are really valuable reasons to do smaller events, somebody needs to be taking pictures of you and videos of you on that stage, speaking with that microphone, talking with people after the event. You might even want to think about, depending on the cost, hiring a photographer to come with you. I'm going to 2 events in Chicago, like I said, and I'm bringing my cousin, and I'm getting a great camera for my cousin Ryan. He's going to come with me. I'm super excited to have him there. We're going to do some networking together. We're going to do some work together. And then I'm hoping that Cousin Love will be the way that he's going to take great pictures of me up on that stage with that panel on Wednesday at the University of Chicago, and Thursday leading a masterclass with the EdTech Institute of Chicago. Now, when you get off of that stage, you need to you need to post about your speaking. What did you speak about? What value did you give? You want to give thanks to the people who invited you. You want to follow up with attendees if you've been able to grab their email address. And you certainly want to update your LinkedIn and show people, hey, I got a chance to speak here. Potentially you post that as featured in your LinkedIn profile. So, one word of advice: if you're new to speaking, start small and start right now. Start with webinars. Start with a podcast. Start with anything that gets you out there, that gets you more comfortable, that gets you more visibility, that gets you more clarity in your messaging and credibility. Volunteer to speak at local events, associations, small conferences. Build your confidence while you build your platform. I'm going to say that again. Build your confidence while you build your platform. The best time to start your speaking career was yesterday. And the next best time is today. I can tell you that I put off speaking in person, in front of people, with a microphone in my hand for a very, very long time. I didn't think I belonged on that stage. Frankly, I didn't like hearing my voice. I wasn't sure what value I was bringing. And then I got pushed up on that stage by people who support me. My good friend, my colleague, my mentor, my co-host on Breaking the Grade, John Gamba, my coach, my friend, Tony, and many others. Of course, my wonderful wife said, get up there. Finally, I said, I'm doing it. And I did it. And now I'm loving it. And not only am I loving it, it has become something that I can actually 100% tie business growth and personal growth to. And I want that for you as well. Speaking isn't just about brand play. It's a sales strategy. It's a confidence builder, and it is a badass credibility engine. If I can do it, you can do it. And again, don't wait any longer to start this. You are ready. If there's anything I can do to help you get up on that stage, you let me know. I'm happy to do it. You guys are breakers, so go out there, and if you're worried, break free of that feeling, because you deserve to be on that stage.